Hey, all you whiskey fans, have you ever heard the term cigar malt and thought, hey, what is it? Does it mean that there are some way or somehow cigar ingredients in the malt? Does it mean that it's a whiskey that's supposed to give like a flavor of a cigar, like a smoky or an intense whiskey? Well, Dalmore is probably the whiskey distillery that made a cigar malt kind of a big thing. And their idea behind it was that it is a whiskey that you can enjoy and that it would complement the flavors and aromas of a cigar. There's a lot of whiskeys out there which might be fine or too smooth, and side by side with the cigar, you might not really get to be able to enjoy the whiskey, but flavors which will either enhance or complement a cigar. A great example of this is the Dalmore cigar malt, because that is known to have kind of a sulfury aroma, which is an interesting thing because usually you don't really have sulfur, kind of like burnt match smell in whiskey. Well, maybe a really smoky whiskey, but not the average whiskey. And I would say it's probably not an aroma that distilleries really want to harness and take full advantage of, because it's kind of seen as an off note to many people and could be a sign of a poorly made whiskey. But in this case, again, it's complementing the cigar, so it's giving a little bit more of that smoky, kind of burnt woody flavor or aroma that might go well cigar to whiskey. Now there's many other cigar malts out there, so it's up to you to try and to see if you like them or not. However, from my personal experience, I thought it kind of interesting because a cigar malt usually does not taste good on its own. It's a whiskey that you might find pairs well with a cigar, but then again, there's so many different types of cigars out there: lighter, smoky, heavy, different aromas depending on where it's come from and where the wrapping of the tobacco is. What am I trying to get at? I think it's a lot of marketing. The whiskey on its own doesn't taste so great that I would buy it and sip it in a glass like this. Okay, with a cigar, fine, but probably that's the only scenario. And if I'm having a cigar, usually I'll just have a bourbon next to it, because those rich, oily, sweet, kind of sugary notes, vanilla notes, I think, in my opinion, complement a cigar really well.